Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And yeah, so it sounds like Xbox is now ramping up some of their marketing efforts heading into that big Xbox Series X event come this July. They did release a brand new trailer showing off some optimized Series X games, and also Phil Spencer put out a juicy new interview yesterday, and this time he did not shy away from comparing the Series X to the PlayStation 5. In fact, he seems more confident than ever after the PlayStation 5 event, so don't go anywhere just yet and we will talk about that. Also, could games be more expensive next generation? According to the former PlayStation boss, it may be needed, so stay tuned for that as well. First though, as usual, let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with the Steam Summer Sale. Yeah, so the Steam Summer Sale did start today, and if you're looking for some good games to add to your backlog, you may want to go over there and check out the loads of games with crazy good deals. I was kind of skimming through some of the deals today, and Resident Evil 3 is on sale, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Doom Eternal is on there, Borderlands 3, A Plague's Tale, and really the list just goes on and on. It's hard to tell what you will find on there, to be honest, and I don't know about you, but I have a really bad habit of buying these games on these big sales like this, and then they just kind of sit in my backlog for years. I mean, Steam just has amazing deals, and it's hard not to buy these games if you're interested in them, even if you won't play them immediately. But hey, go check out this Steam Summer Sale, and if you spot any game that you think deserves attention, let everybody know in the comments below. Moving on though, CD Projekt Red did do a big 25-minute CyberPunk 2077 presentation today. This includes new details on the highly anticipated game and includes a new gameplay trailer, and this trailer looks absolutely insane. I mean, if you told me that this game was made by Rockstar, I would have completely believed you because CyberPunk is definitely giving off some major Grand Theft Auto vibes, and I say that as a good thing. I don't know if there is a single developer in the industry that can make a better open world game than Rockstar, and the fact that they can put so much detail into the animations, environment, and story has always been very impressive. We of course saw the same thing with Red Dead Redemption 2, but CD Projekt Red looks like they are stepping their game up here. The Witcher 3 was already amazing, and it looks like they're going to follow that up with another stellar game in CyberPunk 2077. And just like The Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red really seems to be putting your decisions as the sole focus of Cyberpunk. In fact, the gameplay you're seeing here, I believe, is all just from the prologue alone. What's cool here is that you actually choose the character V's backstory, and depending on what you choose will give you a completely different prologue. That right there is what I'm talking about and how CD Projekt Red makes their games so expansive. It's never just been the gameplay alone, but also the story, their characters, the world, and the meaningful decisions that you make. And all of that seems to be here with CyberPunk 2077. I honestly can't think of a single developer that does it better. Maybe you can, and if you can, absolutely let me know. But either way, CyberPunk 2077 looks very impressive, and luckily it won't be too much longer to play it for ourselves, barring any more delays. The only thing I kind of worry about with this game is that it might bring on some controversy once it releases because it seems pretty vulgar and sexualized, but it does look really good. In other news, Ori and the Will of the Wisps has surpassed 2 million players. The Ori Twitter account did release some new statistics, and one of those statistics was that there was 2 million players, and that is incredibly impressive and very well deserved. I genuinely mean this when I say it, but I believe that the new Ori is the best Metroidvania game of all time. Now, I love Hollow Knight, and that's a close second, but I think Ori is just a masterpiece, and especially when it comes to its platforming. So big congrats to Moon Studios and Xbox for all of the success with Ori. Now, with that said, there is 10 million plus Xbox Game Pass subscribers out there, so I want to see that number rise for Ori. Let's turn those 2 million players into, let's say, 5 million players. So if you do have Xbox Game Pass, I would highly encourage you to go out and play this game. It truly is amazing, and I would even say it's a AAA Metroidvania game. So go do yourself a favor and check that game out, and if you don't have Xbox Game Pass and you just want to buy it, it's worth every single penny. Just a great game all the way through. Now, speaking of what games are worth, the former PlayStation boss Sean Layden had a few very interesting insights about the cost of big AAA games. So in an interview, Sean Layden was talking about The Last of Us Part 2 and how he views it as the ultimate example of a story-driven game. However, he then starts to talk about how the big AAA game business model is unsustainable the way games are made now, and how the cost of development for games have doubled with every new generation of consoles. He specifically pointed out that for the current generation of consoles, most AAA games cost between $80 to $150 million to make, excluding marketing. But however, games are still only $60 for customers. So right away, it does sound like Sean Layden may be lobbying for more expensive games. But he doesn't actually stop there, because he also points out how long games are in development, as well as how long the games actually are. He did point out that maybe developers should try to make shorter games in order to decrease development time. He believes that not every game needs to be super long, and that he would welcome a return for 12 to 15 hour long games once again. And honestly, he might have a good point there. If we look at The Last of Us as an example, the original game did take around 3 to 4 years to develop, and it was about 15 hours long, whereas Part 2 is about 20 to 25 hours long and took like 6 to 7 years to develop. I mean, I know not every game is going to take that long to develop, but if we are looking at The Last of Us in specific, maybe longer games are not always better. So I do think that is a fair point by Sean Layden, and it could be a way to keep costs down for these big AAA games. And if developers can't keep costs down, we may be looking at a price increase for these games in the future. So instead of games being $60, they may end up being $70, and I know that would frustrate a lot of fans. Of course, I'm not saying that is a guarantee to happen, and I do think that the game industry has noticed this, and that's why they have tried to monetize games in other ways. We have seen a major rise in microtransactions and loot boxes this generation, which fans mostly hate. And then you also have games as a service where developers constantly update their game, whether that be with expansions, characters, or even seasons. You also have subscription services like Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Now. Microsoft in specific has really leaned into that subscription route with Xbox Game Pass, and over time, if they do get enough subscriptions, then they will make more money than they ever would have if they just sold big AAA games, and that is why they are willing to release their games day one into Xbox Game Pass. It's all about that long-term success for a service like that. Obviously, not every publisher can do something like this though with the same amount of success. But yeah, AAA games are very expensive to make, and I would love to hear your opinion on this. Would you be okay with shorter games in order to keep the price down, or would you be willing to pay extra money? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on though, let's talk about Xbox, because we do have a lot to go over here. I will try to make some of this brief, but Xbox Lockhart is back in the news yet again, and this time in a Microsoft Game Development Kit Notes. I mean, this is legit. This is not some rumor. This is actually out there, and by this point, Xbox Lockhart is probably the worst kept secret in the game industry. If you aren't aware though of what Lockhart is, it is supposed to be a cheaper, more affordable next generation Xbox. In other words, Xbox Series X will be your powerhouse, but if you don't care about having the most powerful console, then you can go out and get the more affordable Xbox Lockhart, which will likely be named Xbox Series S. Now, we don't really have too much to go on here other than that the notes are talking about profile options. This likely just means that developers can scale their games down to run on Xbox Lockhart with different options. From what I'm hearing, it will be targeting 1080p at 60 frames per second, but I do imagine it will likely have lower textures and lighting as well from the Series X. The question really is, when are they going to announce Lockhart? I thought it would have been this month, honestly, but rumor has it that they have delayed their June event, and there is only a few days left in June now, so unless they have a surprise announcement, it's likely not going to be in June. It could be in July during the big Xbox Studio event, but even then they may hold out until August. I guess we'll have to wait and see there, but I mean, we don't even know if this will release this holiday. It very well could end up releasing sometime next year. I think it will release this year, but by this point, we are all just guessing. However, if you're more interested in the Xbox Series X, I got some great news for you. So a new interview for Phil Spencer got posted last night, and he did not shy away at all when comparing the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, and this is what he had to say. Just being honest, I felt good after seeing their show. I think the hardware advantages that we have built are going to show up as we're talking more about our games and frame rates and other things. So there you have it. Phil Spencer is showing supreme confidence in not only the power advantage for the Xbox Series X, but also the confidence he has in the quality games that they will be showing at the Xbox Series X event in July. Now, usually when Phil Spencer is talking, he doesn't usually compare Xbox with PlayStation too much, but here he clearly did, which means he more than likely honestly believes it. And I think by this point, most people kind of know that the Xbox Series X will be the most powerful console next generation, but there is still some debate going around because the PlayStation 5 does have a faster solid-state drive. But Phil Spencer seems to want to end any kind of debate that there is left, and according to him, we are not going to have to wait for too much longer. From what we're hearing though, this event is the real deal. I know Xbox has kind of overhyped some of their events in the past, but we do have some very credible insiders such as Shinobi and Benji Cells also claiming that they are bringing the heat this July. So I do think that we are going to be in for a real treat here. I think they're going to have some great games there and kind of take a lot of people by surprise. From the sounds of it, we are probably going to see some games with some stellar graphics as well. Oh, and one last thing, he did note that they took the criticism for the May Xbox event to heart, so we probably will see more gameplay this time around. But yeah, I hope you're excited for this upcoming event, and if you are, let me know what you want to see there the most. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Peace out.